If you were expecting a close series, map 1 certainly tells a tale of one that could go the distance. It ends 13-11 in favor of M80, but it very closely went to overtime, as it was the guard who was staring down the barrel of a 2v4 post plant. Both players hell. That is exceptionally winnable. And I'm sure they're kicking themselves a little bit because it gets to that point and they end up fumbling the ball right at the finish line. But there's still a series to be played, and map 2 is just around the bend. And Tanner, we talked about it right before the break. If you're resilient enough to come back from a scoreline like that, you are resilient enough to reset into a second map in this series.
Yeah, I think the thing that hurts the most with the way that first map ended is that the guard did it to themselves. If it was just a great way to close out the map by M80, they played the last round perfectly, then it's just like, hey guys, we're coming back. They just needed to be perfect for a couple more rounds, and they did that. And then you can jump into map 2. But because you beat yourself, I feel like, and now I say beat yourself, I think when you look at that, everybody running at the people in hell who haven't planted the spike or done anything of this sort in a 2v4, the guard are definitely kicking themselves after that. So a bit more added, I guess, like being in the doghouse, there's a bit more added to that because of the way they lost. But looking forward to map 2, Haven, they have a lot of options. They also already beat M80 on this map. They play a super cool composition, so I would imagine a guard is a team that can reset, but we know both teams are barking at each other at the end, so the mental could be in the gutter.
I do feel like maybe there's some like playful jabbing on stage, but it's not necessarily the same as what we saw yesterday. Far from it. I would argue that, if anything, these two teams love the fact that they're facing each other in this grand final, and there even might be some bittersweet feelings, as there is a ton of mutual respect across the stage from M80 to guard and guard to M80 respectively. They definitely know what these players are capable of, and both of them think that the other one would belong and play well in VCT next year. But at the end of the day, there can be only one winner, so they're going to talk their game as much as they possibly can, and I'm sure M80 is going to be a little bit verbal early on to try to rattle the cages of the guard, who's already a little bit rattled. And let's be fair here too, Tanner. Yes, the guard did best M80 last time on Haven, but this is a map that M80 really like to play. Haven has been a part of their playbook for such a long time, and that both hurts and helps. We were actually talking about it yesterday, and when we were on the desk, we were talking about M80 playing this map. They've played this map a ton, and they've never changed their comp. They played the same thing, very much the standard composition for what one would anticipate when you're looking at a Haven play. So it's a little bit difficult for me to look at this and be like, oh man, like this should be an easy win for M80, even though this is their sort of playground.
It is their playground, and like we said, they haven't changed their comp once for this map, and M80 is a team that likes to have different compositions and different maps. They have players that are very versatile who can play a lot of different agents, but for whatever reason, on Haven specifically, what they currently have works for them. So I think that Haven was a really good pick for them as well. Although last time we saw them play, as we were mentioning before, they lost 13-9 versus the guard on Haven. So obviously they picked it for a reason, going in with a different game plan. Again, it's a lot easier to learn from the mistakes once you've already played them on against the same team who they're also facing today. So they very well isolated the mistakes, went over what it was, and they're going to bring a way to counter that, so they're able to actually take the win for the second map.
I think the beginning of this game is going to show us, obviously, where the mindset is, right? If the guard can come back and continue to play electrically like they did in their comeback on Ascent, it also bodes very well that the guard chose to start on the attack for this map. So they're not allowing M80 to keep the momentum from the first map to roll into the second map, because we expect a strong attacking side. The guard are giving themselves that opportunity.
And just in case you're not understanding like the type of history we're talking here, the guard and M80 obviously have played each other a lot, but one of the maps that M80 has played a ton is this second map in the series. They've played it 13 times since Challengers began back in February, and they've run the same comp all 13 times. And really, it's not expected to be changed. Why would they change it? Is maybe the mentality of some, why fix what isn't broken? But the reality is simple, man. At a certain point, it does become readable. And if anyone is going to be prepared for that, it is going to be the guard, who also comes in as expected with the same composition that we've seen from them but at least it's changed throughout Challengers. They've modified and codified their setups to try to find the perfect solution to playing this map, and we'll see if that's what it ends up being here, as they are down 1-0 to M80 after a near comeback. Saw them lose 13-11 on map 1. Can they reset? Let's send it over to our casters, Dustin Schiff, to find out.
Yeah, you know, they pulled it off last time around after the guard, but it felt like there were just so many minimal battles that ended up being, again, big difference makers by the end of that map. And I think the thing about it, too, is now all of a sudden M80 have a little bit more experience built into what the guard likes to do, in especially the mid-round, where they're often so darn good, Dust.
Yeah, it's one of those things where M80 may have played the same comp every single time, but they've also dominated the map. I mean, 11-2 record, you know, over 66% win rate on the attacking side. They are so strong on this map. They've beaten the guard twice throughout Challengers on this map, so they own the head-to-head, although the guard did beat them most recently in the upper bracket semis here on LAN. And the thing about the guard is on this map, they're, you know, just under a 60% win rate, but all of their losses have been so close, man.
Yep.
Like every loss they have gotten at least 10 rounds, and they've pushed it into overtimes or gotten 11 rounds a lot of other matches as well. So don't let their record fool you. They're very comfortable on Haven.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is in this head-to-head, up until they beat M80 just the last time these two teams had played, it was 11-13 losses. So just kind of reiterating the point that this map has been tremendously tight between these two teams. And how about this for M80? Ooh. Little pistol round sneakiness getting up into B window already. EU back at the side. A little bit of trouble with the Trailblazer.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Stove's hot.
Stove.
The stove's hot. Don't touch it. He didn't have a choice to.
It's also sticky and green.
Yeah, he got shoved onto it with no way to get off, like a fly trap. As we are going to see the guard just rolling through right now. All of them still standing, except for Jonah P. He's finally got taken out by Koala Noob.
Good smoke, keeps him alive. Counter fault line as Tex tries to do the same thing, but Koala Noob does collect the kill. So now 3v3, Valen dashed on, and he still gets one. Goodness, Koala Noob gets the trade. Back inside the Poison Cloud, though, Trent very well may have done enough, and yeah, sure does. Gets the final 2 kills alongside Net, and the guard take the pistol.
Yeah, again, pistols have been their forte this entire tournament. They have such a high success rate. I think it was over 70%, if I'm not mistaken. They're very close to it for Ascension. And again, it's nice to see them come out swinging after losing that first map in a grueling fashion. I mean, that final round was theirs for the taking, and they kind of fumbled the ball. You kind of wonder where their mental would be at coming out of their map pick, their home turf, a map they're so good on that they were so nearly going to make the comeback on before that grueling final round. But seems like they've been able to shake it off. That was a very clean pistol, up 1-0. A little bit of investment from M80 though here. They got the Marshall Koala Noob.
Yep. This is the exact same setup, actually, weapon-wise, that M80 did on their defensive ascent. Jonah P flashing in, Trailblazer to follow, does see John Cutie, and actually connects onto him in the corner, so he's stuck there at the moment, but help is nearby, and the guard will respect the numbers that are on the site and back away.
Yeah, again, the guard's usually good for 6 or more rounds on the attacking side of this map. In all of their losses, their problem was defense. They were only getting like 4 or so rounds defensively, and so teams were able to make comebacks on them all the time when they switch sides. So I think the big thing for me, Shift, that I'm going to watch is the guard needs to come through with the strong attack, which they're usually good for, but the big tell is going to be how they treat the defense in the second half, I think. That's been their problem.
The sneak towards C-Long. Xander's not really in position to see any of this. The sentry turret also not watching. And Xander's caught with his hands up. Oh, goodness. Tries to get the dart covered out. He still finds the headshots versus Tex. But once again, the superior firepower makes itself known, and the SMGs light up the C site, leaving Koala Noob by himself.
Yeah, just a Marshall to his name against 4 members who have plenty of time to get in good post-plant positioning. They have one long watching the flank. That'll be Net. Everyone else on site. Koala Noob trying to see if he can find himself a fight, but they are not going to give him a 1v1. They swing together. Jonah P with the hat trick. That's going to be a 2-0 start for the guard.
Oh, yeah.
Looking to get a rhythm early here after a tough first map loss. It's going to be a pretty hefty bonus here for the guard, I will say. I mean, they got plenty of rifles in this one. It's not SMG heavy by any means.
Yeah. And even if it were SMG heavy, there's still ways that the guard have made that work plenty of times with this setup compositionally. So this kind of adds to the firepower boost here on this bonus. Big round early here for M80. Trying to get their defense set up in certain regards, and EU is actually going to pop an Odin here in round number 3. Bit of a wild card.
very strong with it, though, so I'm not too surprised. We actually have seen him break it out in the lower bracket a couple of times in these playoffs on a couple of different maps.
Oh, Xander up top as the hit towards B starts to make itself known. Nano Swarm's also in. John Cutie giving himself a bit of separation. Counter, actually, utility from EU gets a lot of information, but the follow-up is not good enough to actually collect the kills. So we go to a 3v3, and the spike will make its way through B and onto a wide open C site.
A round that M80 seemed to be in control of for a moment has now slipped through their fingers as a spike, as you said, will make its way to C side, and we're on equal footing right now as far as man count. Now the health is looking a little bit grim, particularly on Valen, but outside of that, the Guard have found themselves in a chance to win. That's a great off angle from Net. That's so beautiful.
The other thing to keep in mind, there's only one snake bite here, so you've got to force yourself to play close towards sight. And Net will get 3 in total, and EU will not be interested in going for this. Huge start for the Guard. They're going to win their bonus.
And again, that is what the Guard are so good at, is those mid-round pivots. When the going gets tough and their initial game plan seems to falter, they are so good at calling the audible. They are so strong in mid-round, and that has been their strength. As much as we, talk about M80's strength being just their explosiveness and how aggressive they can be, for the Guard, if I had to pick one thing that really sets them apart, it's their ability to audible. And that was just amazing how they slipped off of what was kind of a grueling time on B initially when Koala gets the double up. But then they respond in kind. I think, it was a big kill from John Cutie that kind of helped them find a way through Link. And they get the job done. They convert the bonus. They're up 3-0.
And EU's going to go into another Odin. So, bit of a force buy situation here for M80.
Yeah.
Well, they're still thinking about it. There we go. Pistol upgrades. Depends on which pistol you like. 2 SMGs and then the opening Odin over towards a sewer. No one on C once again, so this will be a wide open site. That Nanostorm just doesn't quite get over the awning, but again, pretty negligible. As the spike will be planted down for Jonah P, who will earn Seekers with this.
Yeah, it's just kind of a gamble round for M80 where they spammed sewers with the Odin and then tried to push down through. Nothing was there, though, so now they're forced just to play the retake here with SMGs and Odin. Koala does have the ult out, though.
Good flash. Valen in trouble. Well, Trent gets 2. Also shuts down the knives that were out for Koala Dude. John not done yet, though, but has to kind of be held back just a touch. Paranoia Aftershock holds the front line. Net getting another through the backside of mid. John Cutie now the last one left, and the Guard will only drop 1, now up 4-0.
I'll tell you what, man, if there was any fear at all about the Guard's mental state after the loss that they just took on the first map, I feel like that is now a dead storyline. They look fine. They're up 4-0. They are on cruise control on this attacking side. They have been in control of every single round. There has been very few moments they've looked behind. Besides that one double kill at the front of B in the 3rd round, everything else has been the Guard, it seems. They look fired up right now, but we are going to see M80 back to a full buy claw with the operator, but he's not going to find a target early here. It's going to be a very big gather A for Guard.
Just an early watch through mid. Aldrone scouts out a little bit of pressure over from the Guard's point of view, and Nismo inside the dark cover. 2 different contestants, almost gets the snap to the second, but Valen provides the trade. M80 backing out of sewer just to make sure no one gets on towards the A site, but the Guard, in that same instance, they've gained control of sewer because of that backup, and they'll leave Jonah P to lurk. He's actually looking for a couple, and he gets a bit of a lineup. Koala Noob shuts him down, and there's still utility for John Cutie to contest over towards C.
And that was just icing on the cake. He was just left there to be a disturbance. He's created way more than a lap. He has caused tidal waves to roll through, as now his team has a man advantage in what is seemingly going to be a free C site with that Viper's Pit going down. We're not going to see really a challenge from John Cutie. He's trying to sneak out around the platform, trying to just get lucky with spam it, boy, does he? That's Viper's Pit down.
Lockdown gets put in its place, but you can see Koala Noob is on the move over with that elimination, giving them a chance to possibly contest this post plant through C-Long. Dark cover gets placed right on top of the spike. Lockdown will expire. Here comes the check. Koala Noob would have to hit a shot here immediately, but he's actually going to hop on for the defuse initially. It's John Cutie in the corner. Wait a second. Koala Noob gets this to half. John gets 1. This surely cannot happen. Someone's got to hop onto it, though, and Valen, cleans everything up around it. It's a 1v2 clutch, and the Guards stay flawless on the scoreboard.
And you almost kind of wonder if he just would have stuck it, because John Cutie seemed to have his back. He got the first kill in a player peeking closet. I think he might have been able to pull that thing off, but of course we can understand his concern. And so he decides to drop off of it, but that kind of opens the door back open for Guard to kind of get their fights through long if they want. But man, Jonah P, what a lineup frag. John Cutie, equally impressive immediate frag on Trent for Viper's Pit to get forfeited, but good counter lockdown right away to still kind of control the site. And VALORANT winds up with 3 when it's all said and done. And so the Guard are fired up and for good reason. They have a massive lead building here on Haven.
Oh, yeah.
Both teams are doing work on their opponent's home turf is kind of what's happened so far this series, right? I mean, M80 really probably have been the best team in North America, you know, on this map. But the Guard getting the better of them. The Guard, of course, being the best Ascent team, got bested there. And so it has been interesting to see how this plays out. And it only gets more interesting realizing that Bind's next, a map that M80 has never played.
Yeah.
So we're in for a fun time. It's not fun for them. I'm sure they're stressed out there on the stage. Again, they have so much on the line. I mean, people, you have to think, we have been playing Challengers for 5 months now. You know, multiple splits, you know, mid-season tournaments, playoffs, you name it. We've been through it. We came down to 6 teams, 2 from North America, 2 from Brazil, 2 from LATAM. We've battled through group stages. We battled through playoffs, and there's 1 spot available for the VCT season next year and the year thereafter. And it's all down to this crazy rivalry between these 2 top North American teams that has waged all year long for such a big prize.
Oh, and Dust, take a look at this defensive setup. It's a lot of stingers with 1 hero rifle, but look at M80 already making their play up towards A lobby. Net trying to hide in a corner. If he gets 2, that would be incredible. 1 would maybe even be fine, but no, it's a full swab up through. That will be a 1-for-1 exchange. Weapon will be collected. Spike makes its way on by teleport in towards C. Should be a pretty quick plant.
Yeah, again, the Guard pretty good at the snap reaction. They read how many numbers were coming through A. They knew that they needed to immediately pounce on the opposite side of the map for the plant. It's going to be a 4-and-4 post plant. They still have a slight firepower advantage. There is lockdown available, though, for John Cutie, but really just pushing them to long C wouldn't do them much good, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. So this would have to come from the front here if you're M80. Trent just staying in his poison cloud, looking for someone to come through. Fault line lands, but Trent doesn't get seen. No one checks this tight corner. Oh my goodness, he's gonna blow this play wide open. He's gonna blow, no! Swallowed him, snaps, finds the shot from VALORANT at range. Still keeps the numbers in favor of the Guard, and there's no chance for John Cutie to follow up.
Bro, that play from Trent was the epitome of what you think is going to be a great season finale to your favorite show, and then you wind up finding out that there's actually just another season coming. You get no answers.
Spin-off season, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he seemed like he was about to just destroy that play, but he winds up only getting 1. But then VALORANT says, it's okay, Trent, I'll take care of this. Gets the job done. VALORANT has been so key in late round situations for the Guard squad. He's a pretty decent fragger as far as IGLs go. While you're not going to see him top in the charts when it comes to, you know, average damage per round, ACS, things of that nature, he was number 4 in clutch percentage in both all of Challengers and so far in Ascension. And while that wasn't technically a clutch, it's still coming up big in a big late round moment.
Yep. Speaking of big moments, this round is going to feel pretty darn important here for M80. Lockdown, Rolling Thunder, Operator in play with the full high here for the defense. And as M80 try to get, again, aggressive through A lobby, the hit from the Guard is already underway here at B. The alarm bot doesn't actually get hit, though, so the moment of vulnerability coming through. Lockdown spent immediately, but the spike does get planted. And now it's on to this big hit through A lobby. Oh, and goodness, the Guard get a perfect read on it. No one pushes through the lockdown. Even though it does get destroyed, the numbers holding significantly with the Guard's post plant. QualNoob working on it, but now he's just by himself for what would have to be a 1v3 alert from Tex. Very well made, just catch him off guard as QualNoob's just trying to hold on to this operator.
He is. A jump peek's going to happen. It baits out the first shot. Koala trying to play inside the smoke. He's trying to be as crafty as he can be. He does get the kill with the classic. That allow him to push the C site with the op as he tries to save it. And he might just get away with it. There are a couple of players, I think, potentially still getting chased through back hall, so he might still be under threat, but looks like he will carry it over. But man, oh man, the Guard up 7-0. And we talked about how their issue this year has been the defensive half. They started on attack 10 of the 12 games they've played on this map this year, and they've always been able to put together a pretty solid attack. It's just on the defense, they haven't always been able to close the game.
Sure.
They may not have to play much defense the way this half is going, is what I'm getting at, Shiv. Like, it may not matter. But M80 coming to this one fully bought out with 4 ults. They need this round.
Yeah,
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
If the last one was a nice to have, this one is a must for sure.
Indeed.
You just can't go down 8-0 in another situation where you're likely going to be low in economy. So yeah, I agree with you there, brother.
It's got to happen.
Walk down mid, though, for Nismo and Xander. The offense hasn't committed yet, even to getting past a lobby. Ned is aware of a potential early flank, but I don't know if he's aware of this early of a timing into window that Xander's gotten through.
Qualanu misses a slight timing here, rechecking main as they are able to get into sewers. And that's everyone, by the way.
Yep.
So he's not even going to catch a straggler. They're just going to waltz in here. They're going to clear everything. They just don't know about long.
Oh,
and Net catches the mid push. And now they know about Koala.
Yep. He's stuck. Hunter Sphere on the way over, but Qualnoob's already dropped. This will lead to a plant. And the guard still hold numbers 4v3. Retake coming pretty darn quickly, and you have to commit to this. So assume that the Rolling Thunder is going to be entry here for M80 and Nismo. Although he has not pulled his hands up yet, just trying to clear some space immediately. And wait a second, they may try to get the opening kills first and then use it trying to block out the post plant deep, but the problem is that problem, you've got to find the kills first. And even though there's a trail out shock dart to find one, it's not going to be enough, and M80 are backing away again.
Wow. The guard with the perfect play. They catch a beautiful timing crossing sewers before Qualnu can catch them with the operator. And while he was kind of the snake in the grass to get one frag from long, that was all he was allowed before the guard grabs sight and get the spike down. Net shuts down the mid flank. He was eyeing it the entire time. He was always wary of it. He was able to get the job done, and the guard have put together so far one of their best attacking has of the entire year. We did see them get 9 attacking rounds last time they played M80 in the upper bracket semifinals just 5 days ago. And they are on pace to perhaps do even more this time around.
Yeah, they're about ready to get 9 through 9 rounds here, Dust. I mean,
that's pretty darn good. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm no math scientist, but
yeah, it was one of those ones where when they faced off each other last time, it was like M80 was fitting in around here or there throughout the half. They never streaked together any rounds though. All their rounds are kind of on an island. And this time around, the guard is not allowing them to even find any signs of life along the timeline. You know, they have just blanked it out 8-0. And this is looking quite grim for M80. I mean, they're a map to the good. That's one thing, you know, going for them. The problem is Bind's up next. That could be a potential huge problem, depending on whether they have something secret in store for us or something like that, because they haven't played it yet this year. And again, I have to just credit the resilience of the guard to make a crazy comeback effort, get so close to doing it. In my opinion, they dropped the ball the final round. I think that was a big error on their part. But they just shook it off, man.
Yep, sure did.
Taylor Swifted their way into an 8-0 series on this map. See what I did there?
Yeah, sure did. She's dropping a lot of music right now. Lots of old music. That's new again. Very relatable reference.
You're welcome.
I never said thank you.
Well, it was implied.
Perfect.
I think.
I'm here for that. Uh-oh. Hold on a second here. Actually, Tex drops the scope at the exact wrong time. So M80 will get C-Long control here. They're going to put Koala in position with a classic.
That's not a lot.
No.
But this is the one spot of few on the map where it could actually get the job done, and it almost did.
Almost did.
Almost, though, not going to count. Not in that situation. As Tex will be able to run away, get some regrowth.
How about this? Offense throwing some fake over towards A. Spike has not left the C side of the map yet. From the shadows gets called. It will be picking up the spike and then immediately committing in. But the thing about this is the defense is actually here. Shock darts will stop Jonah P from his first attempt to plant. Xander, just before the poison cloud comes up, also finds a kill here. So hold on a second. Seekers are called out just to delay a little while longer. Tex playing deep. Here's the Rolling Thunder. Valen hit by this. Same can be said with Jonah P, and both will drop instantaneously. Last player left is just this late lurk from Net, and he actually gets 2, leaving a chance here for Tex. 1v2 situation, fault line out and all, just doesn't quite pull the trigger. And that secondary peek allows EU a chance to get M80 on the board.
Yeah, he was kind of prioritizing dodging the fault line as opposed to taking the shot there and kind of missed his window. Seemed like the guard is trying to do a little too much there, trying to run the fake with the ult of Valen. Even though they had full site control, it kind of just delayed the spike point, which allowed further rotations and utility to be set down by M80 to disrupt the plant, do some damage. Tex never got regrowth, by the way. It was just never a situation where it could happen. He was too busy using utility to clear out the site, so that kept them vulnerable in that last clutch moment to be an easy target. Nonetheless, the result is M80 get their first round on the board, but boy, do they need a whole lot more.
Yeah, I'll say.
Get out of my way.
And honestly, you just kind of have to string together a couple here just to create a conversation point. Because even in that round, it still wasn't all that comfortable. And that was behind a couple of ults, so M80 looking to get aggressive this time with a very significant amount of numbers over towards A lobby. Snakebite down over towards garage side. Tex with the knives looking to support this play. Lockdown gets placed, but John Q to the corner does at least shut down one. The lockdown will stay safe, and that will force a very, very labored rotation off the site from Xander, but he will get out, avoid the detainment. And in the process, actually, Valen gets one on the long flank, so now numbers hold with the guard's post plant.
Yeah, looking quite good. He's trying to clear out garage, but the counter Trailblazer is going to slow him down from taking any space that direction. M80 are just being held off on all fronts by the counter utility here. We see a push from Xander to the Nano, but Jonah P's quick to trade it back. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah. Trades are fine here. Guard have plenty of pockets. Don't have to worry about trying to hold on to weapons here. EU gets another. It'll leave an opportunity here for M80 to start to play a little bit further forward, but try to break down this post plant at long. Very difficult to do, but hold on. EU gets another. And now just down to Valen. This will feel familiar. Yep, he gets the two again. And that'll be enough for the 1v2 clutch and the guard to get denied.
Again, Valen, number 4 in clutch percentage for all of NA Challengers. That's both splits, midseason faceoff, and playoffs. He was top 5 in clutch percentage, and he's in the same spot, number 4, here at Ascension. And you got to see an example of it right there. Set up beautifully for him, obviously, with the long C hold. And a lot of clock burnt, but still just choosing his battles wisely, never over-facing, never allowing his opponent too much of a chance to fight back as he gets the hat trick there, and the guard continue to rise as they are up 9-1, and the slim pickings by from M80 here is not looking too optimal.
No. And the thing too, just kind of comparing Ascent to Haven as far as a mentality and kind of a playbook is concerned, M80 have not been able to get away with stretching out this guard offense and also being able to kind of put them into a corner here. The guard have done a really nice job at avoiding the external plays and finding a route in. This time M80 tries to turn things up by getting the Hunter's Fury out early. It will not land though onto much. Contact here over towards A. That goes the way of Tex, who gets 2. Xander up high, couldn't quite find his shot, and the guard worked their way on for their plant.
And you like Tex's chances to get the first one, but the second one felt out of reach. It looked like a good off angle for Xander, but no, he gets both. Spike goes down. 4-on-3 post plant hold here. They know that EU is heaven now. They have 2 underneath.
All drone out, doesn't really able to scout out too much. Fault line does provide an opportunity to enter in. John Cutie, though, the only one holding onto a rifle, only gets 1. Nismo, who did find a Phantom, not able to do too much with it. And my goodness, the Carter off to the races here. I mean, this has been as indomitable as we've ever seen anyone play this map in this Ascension period.
Again, Tex has just been so phenomenal, man. He has stepped it up through Ascension. I mean, he was top 5 in virtually every metric throughout Challengers North America. Clearly one of the best duelists in NA. But at this tournament, he is number 1 in first kills per round, and he is 2nd in ADR and KPR. So he's actually stepped it up a notch from his performance within NA here in these playoffs. He has really risen to the occasion, and they are well out in front now, a lot due to his efforts.
Well, again, holding into a corner. Oh, let's see now. Xander's stuck here at the moment. Does not teleport back, though. Instead, he eventually gets to the top-sided box. He's got the judge out in hand. Defense did rotate to assist just in case, but the guard have backed off once again, creating question marks here for the defensive M80.
Yeah, I like that they didn't overcommit to that C play, even though they had the read that he was in the corner. They didn't want to give over anything. They know that they're in a comfortable spot here. Viper's Pit's available for post plant, but a lockdown is available for the defense on a retake. You're going to see some aggression here from Qualamud down middle, able to get the space mostly for free. Defense reads with that ult that there is a lobby presence.
Oh man, but wait a second. Trent's coming to check. Oh no, not check this. Looked like he was coming back. I thought maybe for a moment that Net heard something, but not the case. And it's M80 who win the first 2 eliminations. John Cutie trying to flush out another. The aftershock assist. Trades to allow the guard to come back into it, though. Are you kidding me? It's a 3v5 now to a 2v2. And with the spike in hand for VALORANT, they're going to get a plant off.
Yeah, he's able to Shrouded Step his way out of danger and get that spike down. As you said, Texas is going to cut off any rotations that might come through the B-Link. All he has to worry about right now is long. He's able to teleport across the plat, which may catch them off guard because they had eyes. They may not realize he teleported to the other side of this.
Well, that dark cover going down will surely give them some idea that it could be. Recon Bolt does not reveal VALORANT. Doesn't get through the dark cover, I don't think.
Nope.
So that could be a critical miscue here for M80. They're still looking towards back plat, and they do take down VALORANT. Tex, though, now to the 1v1 as he's already found Nismo. Shock dart out, but Tex, oh, guy just doesn't miss. Shots
clean.
Did
I mention Tex is good?
You sure did.
I did. I just wanted to make sure. I wasn't really just, you know, I feel like it was important to clarify just how strong this man has been throughout Ascension for this squad. You could very easily call him the best player of Ascension thus far. Just the impact he has had has been astounding. I mean, that was the crazy thing about the guard is they came into this year keeping their core four, but they lost a big piece in Saya player. I mean, he was such a phenomenal duelist for that team last year in VCT.
Oh, yeah.
And so Tex had massive shoes to fill, and I wondered about him because he was a guy who benefited heavily from the chamber meta last year, and I was wondering how his transition back to a duelist would be, but he has risen to the occasion each and every time. He has been everything this team has wanted and more.
Well,
to
we
fill
swapped
those
the
shoes.
Sides, and now M80 they have to win this pistol, flat out. Otherwise, the game's pretty much just over.
You don't say.
Yeah, I do in fact say. Wow. And how about it? Tex, little heat check coming through. Net's able to get first blood through the toxic stream. And how about Tex on the hunt? John Cutie will deter him from getting too far forward. Qualamud also in a pretty cheeky position deep in towards enemy lines, but does not expect Trent to come out from behind. Blindsides him, and now it's a 4v3 with Trent upgrading into a ghost. Although John Cutie does get us to more level terms, Sheriff shot lands, so we get to a 3v3, Spike making his way on towards A.
Yeah, free passage for sure, and they also have control of the B-Link area with that smoke that's being put down as well to block the defensive rotation. The guard making lots of noise here. Xander knows what he's up against, but knows half the battle.
Oh, that is a key 1v1 win for Joe to P, but he does get immediately shut down. Low health pools, though, for M80. Fault line comes out. Xander tries to use it as a timing check, but does not quite find it perfectly. Flash behind it, and how about it? M80 will survive through the pistol thanks to Xander getting the final 2.
And so they have found a little bit of a rope thrown out to them in these turbulent waters. But there is still so much to trudge through to try to get back on the boat. Try to make something happen. But hey, the first step is the first step.
Yep.
Of course, we saw a crazy comeback effort from the guard on the previous map. Don't want to count M80 out just simply by the fact that I know the guard has struggled defensively closing games on this map. I've just seen it too many times throughout the year. There's been a lot of games this year where they've been able to get, you know, their 6 to 8, even 10 defensive or attacking grounds and then still just not be able to quite finish the job on defense.
Yep.
And so that's the one thing that maybe M80 can try to use to try to get back into this, but even still, it's going to be tough. This is a much different situation. The guard has a much more dominant grasp of this game than what they've had in the past when they faltered.
Little tech pause here. So M80 will have to kind of stew on that a little bit longer. And for the guard, I think you just got to know where your win conditions are. How do you win 2 rounds? Just, at worst, look to get it done with full buys and ultimates. They've been so clean, as I would say anybody, more so than anybody that we've seen through either North American Challengers or here at Ascension when it comes to being able to execute on full buys. So you can't get into panic mode too soon is what I'm really kind of hinting at based on what you're saying here, especially with the things that have plagued them in the past, because the builds towards 11-1 half, I mean, come on.
Yeah, coming back from this would certainly be a pretty crazy story, especially because it would also put them up 2-0 in the series going into the mystery box that is Bind.
Yeah.
I mean, really no other way to put it but that. We just have no idea what to expect. Obviously, the Guard has built a decent resume on Bind. 5-1 record. I'd say that's pretty darn good. Their only loss was a very tight one, the Moist Moguls, one of the top 4 teams in North America and Challengers. They've, of course, beat 0-0 Nation in overtime on the map. They've beaten all the other North American squads they've ever had to face. So definitely you favor Guard on Bind. If they can finish this thing off here, then that really puts them in position to potentially put this series to 2-1, and then it gets interesting from there.
Yeah, you got lifelines there, right? I mean, you drop 2 of the first 3, and M80 have done more than enough to put themselves in a position to, you know, win this whole thing, qualify for partnership for VCT. So it does feel like, again, based on just how the maps were picked and banned out, if you're the Guard, and as any team would come from the winner's bracket is, you have to win 2 of the first 3. Just have to.
No, I mean, that's a fair point. Again, certainly things get interesting if the Guard were just able to not make that mishap on that final round of Ascent, how different the series could be. They potentially be 2-0 going into Bind that M80 have never played, with a great chance at that point to potentially 3-0 the series, man.
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah.
And so that is going to be a potential storyline that Mike had talked about, you know, after this is all said and done, depending on how it plays out.
Sure.
But, of course, we don't know if that's going to matter or not. It's too early to call.
Yeah, the
but
hindsight
Guard certainly
of,
have firm control of this.
The hindsight of that one round doesn't come into conversation until this thing has been well put away and against your favor. That is the only way it even gets brought up again, I think, if you're the Guard. I'm sure Reddit will talk about it for a while, but
sure. Man, what a crazy change of pace this map has been compared to the last. I mean, last we were talking about a crazy comeback effort. This time around, it just seems like the Guard aren't letting up. It's full steam ahead. As we are experiencing some tech issues, apparently there's some networking problems, which of course was causing a delay to the tournament getting started in the first place. That's why we were a little late getting things going. Unfortunately, not much we can really do. It just has to do with service providers in the area of the venue. So just kind of at the mercy of that situation. Actually, I'm just kidding. It's totally Shift's fault. He could easily press the start button if he wanted to right now, but he has chosen not to because he just wants to hear us talk more.
Well, I'm going to nick that in the bud right now, as we are likely going to be on this for just a bit. So we'll send things over to just a brief break. You don't have to listen to us for too much longer until we come back. 11-2 currently the Guard. We'll be back after tech pause has been all solved and figured out. Don't go far. All right, we're back to it. Sorry about the delay, folks, but it's only so much we can do here from North America.
Nope, all your fault, Shift.
Well, I'm actually in Poland, so it is a little bit my fault right now. 11-2, still to count those who jump back into it. We will have just the single marshal, a couple of pistol upgrades here for the Guard after, well, then maybe need to start stringing together rounds. They start stringing together now.
And forever and always at this point to win it within regulation. As far as this map is concerned, as they're looking to barrel into the B site with the Owl Drone leading the way. There's a big C push here defensively. And so we'll see if it's able to perhaps catch this flank of Koala Noob, and it does.
Huge first shot lands. Spike planted over towards B, and the post plant will now have to exist on site. EU trying to take some space away, but Jonah P there to meet him. Does connect to the body. Valen quickly now avoids the fault line. Has Nismo stuck in a corner at the moment, but it's all down to the follow-up checks. Valen in the corner, doesn't quite land at Nismo mid-reload. Shoulder seen, Nismo takes it off. Trying to follow up, Snakebite gets him vulnerable, but still Nismo holds on. Still stuck in the corner, they'll hold on. The Guard trying to make their play forward, but as they do, everyone will drop in. It looks like the post plant for M80 should successfully hold this.
Yeah, Nismo wasn't having it. No holds barred there. He just gets a big multi-frag moment, make sure that doesn't spiral out of control. You start to get a little bit concerned when that triple push through C catches quality, when that flank starts to set in, that maybe, just maybe, the guard are going to somehow sneak one through, which would have been devastating. But M80 able to hold on. Nismo a big part of the reason that one finishes on their side. Now 3-11. Still a long road left to travel to stop the guard from getting to map point. And we got another pause. Unlucky. Schiff, what are you doing over there? Why do you keep doing this to everybody?
Well, see, the thing about this is,
Go on.
I want this game just as bad as anybody else does.
Yes. Very clearly, if no one knows, I'm very being sarcastic. I just feel like I have to clarify at this point because I've just thrown you under the bus so many times.
Oh, man.
It's definitely not on us. We're struggling just as much as you folks are. We want to see the games as much as you do. We want to cast this game.
Badly.
We've been waiting all year for this, Shift and I.
Quite literally.
Well, not okay. I guess technically it's only been a few months.
Yeah, 7 months.
Yeah. Well, technically 5 because it started in February.
Yeah, true. Okay, fine. Technicalities.
Yeah. Obviously, the teams and players are the ones really getting iced right now. It's like that jerk of a coach that calls the final timeout right before the kicker goes off on the field for the game winner field goal. If you're an American football person, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
But it's like he tries to kick on first down and gets a chance to kick it on second, third, and fourth, and there's 8 timeouts.
Yeah, there's just so many more timeouts in this situation than in the NFL that I'm speaking of.
And we also know that's not the way that rule would work in the NFL or college football. But regardless, this is, man.
It tests a whole different level of the mental game in this situation too.
Absolutely, it does.
As players on the stage, like I feel like as soon as you're starting to get into a rhythm and you're starting to make things happen, all of a sudden a screeching halt happens.
Yep. I mean,
it's just about just keeping focus through all this.
Especially for M80 trying to put together momentum. I know it's like an intangible element that I know there's like a controversy over, like, does a momentum even exist, like in things like esports. I know there's like very differing opinions on it, but this is different. This isn't just like momentum does or does not exist. This is quite literally you're sitting there not able to keep your hands warm. Yeah. Totally different.
So hopefully, just like last time, things will fix here pretty quickly. We'll be able to get back into the thick of it again. If you're just joining us, M80 was able to pull out the win on the opening map of Ascent in a very tight fashion.
Yep.
The guard AGDQ'd the first half of this map. Set a whole new world speed run. But now in the second half, M80 is trying to put up a fight and stay around a little bit. But certainly the guard nearing that 1-1 series score as they're just a couple rounds away from basically creating the old classic let's steal each other's map picks.
Yep. That's, you know, dude, it's one of those things that, like, I feel like we saw that pretty regularly in, like, the Americas Grand Finals in both the 2 stages, and I think maybe also it happened in Face Off.
May have.
Quite done, but I feel like every time we take all this great time to set up from the desk, it's like, yeah, these are the maps, these are what these teams are good at, these are the comps we expect, and this is how it should go. It just doesn't end up going that way.
No, I mean, Ascent definitely did not go the way I expected at all. It's one of those things where, like, it's very much the guard's home turf. It's very much a 50-50 map for M80 if you look at the course of this year. And, I mean, it took a crazy comeback for the guard to even make that map competitive. And then, if we're honest, it kind of just, man, again, depending on how this series plays out, that round may haunt them.
Oh, absolutely.
That final round. Again, if all's kosher, if they want to win the series anyway, which they're certainly on pace to, tie up the series at least. But yeah, that was kind of a wild one. And now we're here on Haven, which is a map you'd very much favor M80 on. I would argue this is definitely their best map. It's certainly their most played, and it's their highest win percentage. As far as maps that are still in the active pool, I think Lotus is like maybe the only other map you'd put up there next to Haven as being kind of their home turf. And they have gotten rattled so far here. So yeah, it's been very interesting. Obviously, a lot of it, I'm sure, comes down to the pressure of what's on the line. It also comes down to the fact that these two teams have faced each other so many times. I mean, this is their 5th series against each other this year. So there's a lot of mind games. There's a lot of scouting. There's a lot of trying to pull the wool over each other's eyes. But at the same time, we also haven't seen any comp changes to these two maps yet.
Correct.
So there hasn't been any curveballs in that regard. But what there has been, particularly on the guard side, is they have definitely brought a higher tempo more often than usual.
Sure.
I mean, they're usually a very well-balanced team where they certainly are capable of playing, that up-tempo, but they generally are a little bit more methodical. They like the mid-round a little bit more, and they just occasionally throw in the pace changes, but we've seen them be very, very proactive in this map in particular.
100%. And the other thing too
nice
about this, and I think this is also kind of a curiosity point, talking about like recency bias and things like this. Like these first two maps are very, very much so staples of the previous series that these two teams have played up against each other. Of course, most recently in the bracket itself, but we also saw them play this during the grand finals in North America for Challengers. I mean, it's been a very rehearsed map set in these first two for these two squads. So, there is something to be said about how close those maps had been previously, and even though the win records would favor one team over the other, I mean, when you're dealing with 13-11s, 13-10s, 13-9s, like those are all very winnable maps. So this would be the first time that we've really seen any map, largely, between these two teams be this much of a blowout.
Right. I think the other thing that we kind of had to talk about a little bit while we have time, I might as well, is that...
we got plenty of time.
It seems like it. Is that there was a discussion on the desk, and I tend to agree that as this series drags on, the map pool starts to tilt maybe more in M80's favor. Like,
I think
when you think about the fact that the final two maps of this series, should we need them, are Pearl and Split. I mean, those are maps that M80 have definitely looked very sharp on. In particular, their Split has been fantastic. We've already seen them play it multiple times this tournament and get some wins, but just generally speaking, even before this event started, they were fairly strong on Split within NA Challengers. And then Pearl, they've won 4 of their last 5 matches, including a win over 9Z in the lower bracket of this one. They narrowly lost to Union in the groups, and it was like a triple overtime if I remember correctly. So
that's right. And the thing about that loss to the Union, they pulled out a different composition than they normally run. When they run that fade comp they played versus 9Z, they blow people out of the water. So it's one of those things that they really found, I think, something that's hot right now for Pearl for them. So yeah, absolutely. I think map 4, map 5 starts to look pretty darn favorable for M80. Not a guarantee by any stretch of the imagination, but it's still one of those things that you came out, you took your opponent's map choice and map number 1. Like,
right.
It's literally one of those two things where, okay, like you feel like your job has been done, but I think you were hoping to do something a little bit more competitive, at least early on your own map pick. So some mitigation there.
And again, mine's going to be the mystery, right? I mean, who the heck knows what to expect on that one? Again, I think it's certainly a map the Guard have shown a good amount of power on, but we just have no idea what M80 has in store. They've never played. It's always been kind of a ban for them, but they didn't get that luxury this time around. Coming from the lower bracket, the Guard got to dictate the pace of the pick ban. And what do you know, Schiff? We managed to carry that thing all the way through back to the action.
I know, dude. We got to start finding names for our podcast. And it's not just ours. Like, I think we talked about this before. It's like, I would love to see, like, and no one would ever listen to this podcast, but you just put all of the caster vamps into like episodes of podcasts. It's just like 30 minutes of casters vamping about random
That's the name of the podcast, The Green Room.
The Green Room.
I think that'd be a good title for it, where we all hang out between games and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess not these days. We're all online, but
Yeah, true.
The virtual Green Room.
Full purchase here, though, largely for both teams. Bulldog for Xanders. That's the only thing really kind of hindered as we approach this round. Also, a couple of light armors across the board for the Guard. But a delayed approach here for M80, just kind of taking their time, seeing if the Guard want to try to do something feisty, which at the moment they are not fully. But there may be a check here towards John Cutie. But no, he backs off just before. He took a little bit of something with him.
I'll say he's carrying some extra lead. He weighs a little bit heavier than he did before he left,
or a little bit less, depending on how much that pound of flesh was worth.
That flew off. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, Tex might be in a weird spot. Oh.
Gets the first, surely not more. No. John Cutie gets the pinch up, but oh boy, Jonah P from behind this play. It's just a toxic screen in his way. Does he check left? May not matter. Valen from inside the site will do pretty much everything required to hold on, and that will put the Guard at 12 as Xander can do nothing through C-Long.
So they will have 9 chances to put this one away in regulation and even the series up at 1 apiece. Again, opening the series by sealing each other's map picks and keeping things on equal footing. Again, for a rivalry that has been this awesome all year long, and considering what's on the line, you wouldn't really want to have it any other way than go on the distance and really letting these two teams brawl it out. I'm down. The crowd seems electric as well.
They're just happy they're seeing gameplay.
I'm sure that's a lot of it. I'm sure that definitely has a lot to do with it, as it seems like most of the people in the crowd are kind of favoring the guard.
Oh, here we go. M80, little YOLO play towards C. Paranoia right across the Rolling Thunder. Nobody checks Tex in the corner. He dashes across,
What?
and oh my goodness, he gets up close and personal with John Cutie. Flash out, Jonah Pete gets a little bit side-blinded though, but it doesn't make a difference. The guard will hold on, and it's a 13-3 map 2. The guard bounced back in a major way, while also surviving through the lengthy tech pauses to get us tied up at 1 apiece.
The guard's like, what ascent? What do you mean? I'm not bothered. They just absolutely plowed M80 there on Haven. It wasn't even close. They kept their composure. They shook off the first map. They shook off all the pauses, and they got the job done to even us up at 1 apiece. The pond around the corner, with us having literally no idea what to expect from M80, and then us having a little bit of expectations for the guard. But either way, it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this series plays out. So far, we've gotten what we wanted, which is, you know, no one just stealing the series immediately. Like, it's going to be a back and forth affair, it seems.
Feels that way. It's just going to be one of those things that I can't wait to hear what the theory crafting on the desk is going to be in terms of what do we think that M80 are even going to pull out on Vine. So you guys have heard our voices for long enough. We'll send things over to Bach and the desk as they give us their thoughts here on map number 2.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. My thoughts, that was the longest rounds played at that amount. That didn't make any sense. That wasn't English. Let's start that one over. That was the longest game with that score. That's what I was going for, as the tech pause obviously delayed the end, but it couldn't prevent it. You know, the guard was steamrolling M80 on this map. We were concerned coming into it, right? The guard lose map 1 in a close affair. It was 13-11. They had a winnable 4v2 to take things to overtime. You do look at that, though, a little bit, Tanner, and you go, man, could you imagine if they were up 2-0 right now and they're going to go to bind next?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you would be assuming at this point that would be a 3-0, right? That would kind of be it.
Yeah.
Unless, I said if M80 win this, they would shock everybody because they're coming from the lowers. The real shock would be if M80 pieced together a competent bind against the guard. And I say competent, you know, making it a close game. I think it's going to be probably a blowout, much like we saw here. I think the most exciting thing for guard fans coming into this one is we talked about the pressure that they were feeling. We talked about them being extra down on themselves because they did it to themselves, but that didn't show at all in this game.
Yeah, their attack side on this map was scary good, and M80 really couldn't seem to find a solution. At that point, the guard didn't have to do much. The finish line was right there. They just had to take a step. So, yeah, you know, the pauses certainly hindered the ending coming to us as quickly as it could have, but that was a very impressive second map victory from the guard.
It was, and it was actually M80's pick to be surprising enough, but there was a few runs that stood out for me, and that was from Tex. Tex did a beautiful job on getting those entry picks, even having a 1 versus 1 op battle against Koala, and he is just too quick on the trigger. He out-offed him a few times that we saw, and he had a couple lurk entry picks too that we saw, but also from Valen. Valen had a lot of clutches, 2v1s that happened on the same side of C. So we were highlighting him pregame, right? We were talking about how he was the heart of the team, and he was showing it today going into this game. They had an 11-1 half. So that was not what we were expecting because, again, this was M80's map pick, but they definitely came prepared.
And while we're giving players their roses for the guard, I thought this game started and it was all net. I kind of look at, I like to do this thing where I think about the players and I try to give them kind of their tagline or what they are, like a one-word role for this team. And this is actually, it's biting me in the butt because this is kind of a two-word thing. But for Net, he's always kind of been that Net. He's always kind of been the catch-all for the guard. And he proved that at tenfold today. Even in the round, if we go back to it, I remember the number of the round, but it was the Xander lurk up towards mid, and then Koala was causing problems out towards A long while the guard was taking A, and Net dealt with Koala too. He peeks out mid, has a perfect timing there. Koala's causing problems, pops the knives, Net's there down inside A lobby, finds that kill there. Anything that could like start to swing back or swing M80 back in favor, Net was there to make sure that things didn't get out of hand.
There were two statistics we profiled coming into this match. It was the 4v5 and the post-plant scenarios. And the success rates for M80 were slightly worse than the 4v5. And if you saw, it was a lot of first bloods coming in from the guard, which meant M80 was effectively playing 4v5 pretty frequently. And on top of that, 11 out of 12 post-plants went the way of the guard. They planted 12 times. That is impressive. An incredible amount of site control coming in from the guard, and M80 really couldn't seem to do anything about it. But that does wrap things up here for our second map in the series. If you thought map 1 was just a bit of a taste, map 2 kind of changes up the course as we find ourselves swallowing a massive victory from the guard. I didn't think that was going to happen, but map 3 is just around the corner. We've got Bind up next. We're going to go ahead and throw things to a break because I can't speak English. We'll be back in just a bit.
I think the keys to success for my team is staying focused, taking every round by round, making sure we pay attention to little details and we don't mess up the little things, and just staying confident. I feel like the only way we lose is if we lose to ourselves.
Brent, 5 HP. He's trying to get back into this quick because of the space. But a shot, and he can go for more. Tex finally showing off his prowess with the up. And Jean QT is going to go down in an instant.
For me, I'm feeling pretty good, and I have a lot of confidence in my guys, so I'm pretty sure that they're feeling pretty good also. And, you know, we're already in the grand finals, so now we just get to watch all the other teams play, and we really get to see exactly how they play, what their tendencies are, you know, what they like to do. So we're feeling pretty confident going into this last match.
React with an orbital themselves. Here comes MTK with a step up. Will they even need the orbital? All they need is Tex.
Personally, for me, it means everything. I think every player in Challengers that's not in franchising, their end goal is to want to be in the big stage on the big league.
Handling it just fine. At 3v2 out of nowhere. Trent, gonna have to handle it with Net.
Net just, a flash on the outside.
Rugoide. Hey, he's trying to guess. He's trying to pre-fire. Find his fam.
It's just so exciting, man, that the excitement of playing in the match, especially at a LAN event, just trumps all the tiredness or all the burnout. It's like, man, we're doing what we love right now.
Of the lockdown, but it's only 2 for the Union to try to take back this game. 35 seconds left. Oskia with the knives trying to burst in, try to find someone from the air, but Net shoves Oskia, and Net gets them all. The guard discard of the Union. It's go time. We've put so much hard work and effort in. Show it right now.